A lot of you guys came to my content by way of my commentary that happened in 2020. A couple of different things went down, namely this foolishness surrounding COVID. Okay, and it's been interesting to see. There's been a cultural shift there as of recent. Not as many people are lining up, falling over each other to try to get this jab. And I do have some commentary that I do want to give at the end of this, but I want to watch this video on Bill Maher's show. You had an NYU professor, big proponent of the lockdowns and such. And Scott Galloway is his name. We're going to listen to what he had to say, and I'm going to give you my commentary afterwards. But let's check in on Mr. Scott Galloway.
Board of my kids' school during COVID, I wanted a harsher lockdown policy, and in retrospect, I was wrong. The damage to kids of keeping them out of school longer was greater than the risks. But here's the bottom line. Myself, our great people, the CDC, I'd like to think the governor, we were all operating with imperfect information, and we were doing our best. So
it's and now everybody's clapping like seals.
So let's learn from it. Let's learn from
oh
it.
My God.
Let's learn from it. Let's hold each other accountable. But let's bring a little bit of grace and forgiveness in the shit show that was COVID.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's say some things that. Let's try not to get demonetized today. Okay. I would give these guys a leeway if they were flying in as blind as what they're pretending. However, that wasn't the case. There were people ringing the alarm on this stuff, I being one of them. And though I'm not a doctor, I saw this stuff from a mile away. I was covering this stuff back in February before it really took America, if you will, by storm in the following month. And I was talking about that, looking at the receipts, looking at the evidence, the numbers that were coming out of South Korea as an example. And I would cover them. You guys remember all those streams that I did. And I would cover this information. And I would say, hey, look, these guys are about to overreact and they shouldn't. And here's why. And I'm just looking at the data. John Ioannidis. It was even a bulletin, man, on the what do you call it? Not the CDC. Why am I losing it right now? The World Health Organization, WHO. And even he was talking about this stuff very early on. And everybody, as far as the experts, namely the one in governments, acted like we were about to enter into some apocalyptic age. So you weren't flying in blind. It was not this crap show that you pretended that it. No, this is what happened. You guys wanted it to be that. You needed it to be that. And a lot of you guys wanted to present yourself as heroes and then punish the people that you saw were your enemies. Because for whatever reason, the ideological lines got drawn between this, even though it was a supposed health issue. People advocating for lockdowns, and this stuff is going to impact this country and the entire world for the coming decade. And it could have easily been avoided. I'm not trying to hear that amnesty stuff. And this is the thing it's frustrating. And I'm not saying this to be a black pill. But all of these creatives that got it disastrously wrong, that were shilling for this stuff, advocating for this stuff, are going to get away as if nothing happened. We can talk about Fauci's of the world, but talking about the people, the propagandists, if you will, that was spreading this narrative and scaring folk to absolute death, using their platform to do as such. Many of your favorite creatives got it disastrously wrong, some of them even being on the right. Wrong, completely incorrect. And we're supposed to just be like, well, it's all good, man. It was a crazy time. Just forgive us. Let's deal with it with a little grace. Y'all are a lot more forgiving than I am, that's for sure. Especially understanding the economics of what's happening, right? And look, none of these, even your supposed leaders, most of them aren't absolved of this. There were very few of them that were like, look, man, our reaction is an overreaction. And this includes your beloved Donald Trump. Oh, I know there's going to be people mad at me. Well, he was only acting in the best way that he could is what they're going to say. That's bullshit. You cannot gripe and complain about the pharmaceutical companies getting lined up without pointing to Operation Warp Speed. That is not my opinion. That is a fact. That is a fact. You can say that he might be your best option going forward if that's what it is that you believe. I guess two things can be true, but he was just as much a part of this problem, if we're going to be honest. On top of it, the Congress, in combination with Trump signing off on all of these disastrous recovery bills, or whatever you want to call them, stimulus bills, and now everybody's griping about what? Money. And it not going as far as what it should have went. Well, I don't know. Maybe when you have a combination of the lowest productivity period, maybe in modern history, because people aren't work. In some cases, it was illegal for them to do so. And then you have printing of money like it's going out of style and spending of money that you already couldn't account for. Maybe that is going to impact the money. I don't know. You don't need to be an economist to understand this stuff. You do have to have some sort of literacy there, I guess, economic literacy. But it doesn't need to go. You don't have to be an Austrian economist. You don't need to be a Rothbard to understand it. This was inevitable. And we're supposed to just, the ones that were ahead of it, just supposed to sit up here and be like, well, all is good. All is forgiven. It was just a crazy time. It's the information that was given to us. That is hogwash, bro. If you had just taken a step back and just analyzed it honestly, even before it hit the States, you would have known this. I was saying it. We got streams of me talking about this in great detail doing all of those videos. I knew this was the case, so I know y'all did, and there were other experts that knew this was going to be the case. We're not even just talking about the jab and all that. Well, I'm talking about just how COVID impacted the world, the demographics of it all. There were people, experts that you shunned. You called them quacks, hacks, all that good stuff, just because they came to a different conclusion than your beloved government experts. And now, like I said, and the Scott Galloway idiot, we just need to be handling this with a little more grace. Just be to these people that have literally ruined people's lives. It's unbelievable, man.